begin tonight with the coronavirus evacuations. More than 300 Americans taken from quarantine on board that cruise ship in Japan on buses, then put on planes. But it was learned along the way some had tested positive for the virus. The passengers initially considered healthy to fly. U.S. officials then getting that alarming report while on the way to the airport. They decided to keep going. 14 of those Americans testing positive for the virus confined to special containment areas during their charter flights back to the U.S. 2 planes touching down in California and Texas. All passengers now under new quarantine right here at home. In fact, some have now been transferred to Omaha. ABC's Clayton Sandell leading us off tonight.
Tonight, more than a dozen Americans back on U.S. soil, now believed to be infected with novel coronavirus, landing in Omaha, Nebraska today, escorted from the plane one by medical teams, rushed off by motorcade to this special isolation unit.
They've had a very long journey, so I think we're not going to make any assumptions about anything that's passed along verbally. We're going to go ahead and just test everybody.
338 Americans were evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan, flown to bases in Texas and California, arriving overnight. 14 are suspected of having a coronavirus infection. 4 now in isolation and hospitalized near Travis Air Force Base near Sacramento. 10 in Omaha. Hundreds of passengers checked before leaving the ship were deemed healthy to fly.
I have to put my mask on.
The bus will take you to the airplane. The airplane takes you to the United States.
But after the evacuation had already begun, a complication. New test results revealed those 14 people were positive for the virus, exposing others on a 40-minute bus ride to the airport. Officials making a critical decision, saying the safest option was to push forward with the evacuation, putting infected patients in the back of the planes in these special isolation chambers.
They took temperatures, and if you had a high temperature, you went into that isolation booth.
Mark Jorgensen had to leave his wife behind in a Japanese hospital after she tested positive for the virus. So far, 454 cruise passengers have been infected. We met John and Melanie Herring when he spiked a fever and had to be hospitalized. He's now fighting the virus and has pneumonia.
Goodbye, Diamond Princess.
The couple deciding Melanie should be on that flight home. Melanie is now back in the U.S., telling us she too spiked a fever.
All right, so let's get to Clayton Sandell. He is live from Omaha tonight. And Clayton, the rest of the roughly 300 passengers, the Americans who showed no sign of the virus, we know they spent time on those buses with these passengers, the Americans, the 14 who it's believed might be infected with coronavirus. Of course, more testing here at home. But I gather the rest of the passengers who were in close contact, they'll be watched closely now for the days to come?
They will be watched very closely, David. They'll be in quarantine for 2 weeks. And it's important to note that those 14 others who tested positive in Japan will be tested again here in the States. And while that happens, they will be kept in quarantine, in isolation, away from everyone else. David?
All right, Clayton Sandell leading us off tonight. The latest headlines on the coronavirus. Clayton, thank you.